And then you've got the 2 pins here, which means that obviously as the trade comes back into that area there, you'll now have an idea that you can take a pop at some sells at that price. Well, that took you straight into a sell trade. And then you saw 2 pins in here. And you draw a line across that price, just as we did there. And you can now take a pop at some selling at that price, yes? Is this not exactly what we showed you in the classroom this morning, guys? Remember, it's got to be in the preferable direction of trend. It's got to be in the preferred direction of trend, right? It's not something you want to try and do at bottom edges with buys or top edges with sells. So there's a great opportunity to sell it. Lovely sell-off. We haven't really seen any more pins since then, have we? You could argue that there was 2 pins here, but that's almost now the bottom edge. It's leaving us very, very little space to operate inside this area. But if you did take it as 2 pins, this would have been your sell trade here. You agree with that? Now, you've got to be able to draw a straight line and chop the pins off, right? Otherwise, there is no trade. I mean, it's got to be something that you could say to yourself, that is systematic. If it's not systematic, then of course, then it's all down to your interpretation. It's got to be as close to systematic as it can be. So therefore, what you're trying to do is you're trying to find the pins in the right location. Now, why is that important? Well, what's happening in these 2 areas here? Why is this similar to reading the tape? Why is this similar to reading the tape, guys? Well, very simple, because if the market is selling and there's a lot of sell orders, what's happening at some stage is somebody comes in and bids, and somebody comes in and bids, and somebody comes in and bids. And whilst they're bidding, somebody not only sells to their bid, somebody comes in and, sells to their bid, not buy. Somebody comes in and sells to their bid and then sells, crossing the spread. And the buyer say, not so fast, sunshine. And they come back in and they start buying again, and they start buying again, and they start buying again. And somebody says, okay, I'll take your buys again, and I'll match your buys, and I'll come back in again. Is that not exactly what's happening in a pin candle? So what's happening in the pin candle is that there's a buyer coming in a pin candle, and somebody's selling to the pin, and then there's a buyer coming in a pin candle, and then somebody's selling, which creates the pin again, which is exactly what we've just discussed here. And that means that you then say, right, somebody's selling this area. And all you do then is you chop off the pins and you say, right, there's your sell zone, if you like. There's your sell zone, if you like. And there's your nice opportunity. It's basically reading the tape. Correct? Like on the floor of the exchange, these are the prices that the floor guys would look at and say, somebody's coming in as a short seller here. I am going to make a note of that price. Anytime you see this, and it's got to be the same price. I don't want to see an angle. I don't want to see a diagonal line across the charts. I want to see a straight line right through the price, right? I want to see a straight line as people work the offers at that specific price. If you've ever actually watched the tape, you'll see that this happens all the time. You'll see that there's a seller comes in, a seller comes in, a seller comes in, and it seems to hold the price literally almost to the tick. And every time the price goes above it, they whack in another sell, and then they sell it, and it goes above a little bit. And sometimes they drop it down just a little bit, but there's almost a straight line that's driven right through the prices. And that's what you're trying to identify on your charts, is that straight line driven through the price action, yes? It doesn't matter what market you look at, you'll see this happening all the time. And I'm being serious, you will literally see this happening all the time as you'll find those straight lines. You'll be able to recognize some of the price actions. This is what tape reading is in the modern day. Because always what you're doing here is you're just recognizing a price that simply just doesn't go away, right? You're recognizing something that does not change. This is a gold chart, and you'll be able to recognize when I point out the type of activity I'm talking about. Do you see that area there? Look, do you see that little area there? Look, somebody's coming in and buying it, buying it, and buying it, and buying it. Now, this has obviously been in an uptrend, so that's the one we're looking for, right? So somebody's coming in and buying here, crossing to buy here. Somebody's then buying here, crossing to buy here. Somebody's buying here, crossing to buy here. Somebody's buying here, crossing to buy here. So as soon as you see two of them, you can start joining in with the third and the fourth, and then even potentially on the retest here. You see it? So when you see that buying and the aggression coming in from those areas, you're still recognizing that this is still a price that might still get a lot of buying. Well, what the hell was even that? A lot of selling, but the buyer still took the market bid, didn't they? And then look at what happened at the top edge. You see what happened? Sellers came in there. And if you just draw those two pins, do you see if I chop those two pins off, that's what then created this big short. Because whilst it was all right to buy here, you saw that there was a lot of sellers coming in against that buy in terms of the tape, wasn't there? There was a lot of sellers working that trade right there. So obviously when the sellers did finally get jammed, the buyers know they're in trouble. So obviously when the price rallies, the sellers decide to do it again. They started to do it again, and they started to do it again. So these buyers says, no thanks, mate. They're not getting any successful rotation, are they? So obviously these guys don't sell, they don't buy at this price this time. They pull away, and that causes this brilliant sell candle to drive through to the low price. Is that not dead obvious? Is that not what everybody looks for when they look at price action? I hope it is. Because price action can be very, very important to you. They can give you the tape read skills that you can get very, very quickly, far quicker than simply reading the tape. No? Yes? Okay, looks like nobody's interested in the tape, so we'll not cover that in Classroom. We'll probably be covering the gold scalp trade anyway in Classroom, so we'll just ditch the candle by candle reading skills. And we'll look at scalp